All right, let's talk about David Rivera. He's the former Miami congressman who just got convicted in a Venezuela lobbying case. And the bigger question here is pretty simple. What happens when a man leaves public office, but his old name still opens doors? Hey everybody, Eli Bo Weston here with American Grit and Grace. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me. If you're new here, this is where I talk through the news plain, the way I'd talk it over with people I know. No cable news shouting, no lawyer fog, no acting like working people can't understand what's going on. If that's useful to you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who still wants the news straight. Here's the shape of it. Rivera used to be in Congress. When this deal came along, he wasn't there anymore. He didn't have the seat. He didn't have the vote. He didn't have the office, but he still had the old phone numbers. He still had people who knew him. And in politics, that kind of thing can be worth a lot more than it should be. Rivera and Esther Nuhfer had a $50 million contract tied to PDVSA, Venezuela's state oil company. Rivera's side said it was business, oil, ExxonMobil, Venezuela, a commercial dispute, that sort of thing. And sure, business happens. People consult, people make introductions. That part by itself isn't strange. But prosecutors said this wasn't just business. They said it was hidden foreign influence work, dressed up to look respectable. The law here is called FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Bad name. Simple idea. If you're working for a foreign government, or close to one, and you're trying to push American policy, you're supposed to say so. You can make your case, you can talk oil, sanctions, diplomacy, all of it. But you don't get to hide who's paying you while you do it. And people understand that. If somebody gives you advice, fine. But if you find out later somebody else paid him to steer you that way, now it lands different. The words might be the same, but the truth underneath them changed. That's what hidden money does. The jury heard Rivera's business argument. They heard the government's foreign influence argument. And they convicted Rivera and Nuhfer on every count, including foreign agent charges and money laundering conspiracy. The money trail didn't help them either. The Justice Department said Rivera used about $600,000 from the contract money for his Florida state congressional campaign and other personal uses. They said Nuhfer used about $455,000 toward buying a place in Key Colony Beach. Marco Rubio came up in the trial too. And I want to keep this fair. Rubio wasn't charged. He wasn't accused of wrongdoing. He testified as a witness. Rubio said he didn't know Rivera had that $50 million Venezuela oil contract behind him when Rivera came around talking about Venezuela policy. And that's why disclosure matters. Rubio didn't have to be doing anything wrong for Rivera's access to have value. A call can sound normal. A meeting can look normal. But if the man walking in is hiding who paid him, then the room isn't as honest as it looks. That's the part that stays with me. Public office gives a person something most folks never get. It gets calls answered. It opens doors. It puts a man in rooms he didn't build on his own. But that access comes from the public. It comes from voters. It's not supposed to turn into private property once the job is over. Now, maybe some of that follows a man no matter what. People remember old titles. They remember who used to matter. That's human nature. But when foreign money gets tied to that leftover access and nobody's told the truth, that's a real problem. That's not just experience. That's not just consulting. That's foreign power renting an American back door. So the short version is this. Rivera and Nuhfer were convicted in Miami. The deal was worth $50 million, and it was tied to Venezuela's state oil company. Rivera said it was business. The jury said it was criminal. Sentencing still has to happen. Appeals may come. And a separate Washington case involving Rivera is still unresolved. But the lesson is clear enough. If foreign money is paying for access to American officials, the public deserves to know before the meeting not years later in court. I appreciate you staying with me on this one. Stories like this come wrapped in smoke, and the only way through is to keep asking plain questions. Who paid you? Who were you helping? And why didn't everybody know that up front? If this helped clear it up, hit like, subscribe to American Grit and Grace, and share it with somebody who wants the news without all the fog. I'll see you in the next one.